Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I'm Cloud Hudson, your meteorologist for the evening. That's comedian / meteorologist. And we are about to dive into a look at what we had for our weather today. Remember, I'm not a forecaster. I'm just a rearcaster. I'm just telling you what already happened. And I'd like to start on the macro level today. Let me go ahead and share my screen because we had an X flare again. Okay, how is my video already lagging and I haven't shared the screen yet? I don't know. Either way, let's get into it. Today we saw we saw 3 type 2 coronal mass ejections, and one of these was like just after midnight. I think this is the one that caused, oh, look at that. We've got an area here, here, and here, and this is the one that this is technically marking with that really fast ejecta, and the other one's causing the prettier ripple patterns. And then we've also got this one that happened about an hour later. Another, wow, that like blew out, that fuzzed out the sensor there. That is just wild, bonkers amount. That's a lot of, that's more in a 5-petal formation too, angularly. And then we had another one at 4:30. Wow. Ooh, this is really beautiful over here. I think this is 3576's last little hurrah right here. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful little spinning, twinning, double helix interaction regions there. Really cool. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Let's take a look at what that did to our solar flares. Because that's where we're going to see that X flare. Yes, here we go. February 16th at 7 UTC, at 6:50 UTC, we saw an X 2.5, and that was preceded and followed by M-class flares as well. So like last night when I broadcast, I was like, we've just been seeing some M's. I don't really know what we're going to be in for. I broadcast around here. I think it was technically, we were right about to go into that M flare. And then shortly after last night's broadcast, we saw this X class flare. And that was, that was from 3576. That is, as soon as 3576 got out of Earth direct view, we got the real coronal mass ejection. So that's pretty interesting. I heard a term called Earth facing quiet zone or something along the lines of like what I've noticed that really resonates with me is it seems like these sunspot areas are not flaring quite as much when they're facing the Earth. And then as soon as they get like 90 degrees from the Earth, like when they're in that square aspect, then they start to flare again. Because we had like we didn't just see the X flare, we also saw the M flares coming from there and these higher range C-class flares. So there's a lot. Let's go ahead. I want to look at that on, okay. So now we are looking for, we've also got a type 2 radio emission and a type 4 radio emission. Looking at a lot of, we're probably going to look at elevated protons again from this one, because let's take a look at what this, so protons are different than photons, and photons are what are showing up here as the radiation that clouds and grains out our perception of the flares. Let's go from this level and watch over the past 48 hours. We saw several M-class flares, then leading up to the big X flare. So we're seeing a lot in here. Remember, this is where we're going to get the big excitement from. So keep your eyes peeled over here. See it all sparking and arcing and setting up, getting ready, getting twisty and weird. Let's see this again. Moving in. Well, I guess this isn't really the wavelength we're going to see it on. Let's go to the composite wavelength because that'll probably show a better estimate. Should have been this morning, so it should be right around this area. Look at all that. Yeah, there we go. That was a launch. This is ready to launch. This is ready to launch. That also. Let's look at these again. Look at all the areas that are really rapidly exchanging their charge and flaring off as well. I think we are only going to see this ramp up in intensity. It'll look like a little stringy thing here. Not a filament launch, but more of like a tube. There we go. It's this right here that they're showing on their social networks. Scroll by. This is the X-class flare of ejection that we saw from 3576 right as it rotated out of Earth view. Beautiful, beautiful. It's not likely to be aimed at our planet. It's just pretty. And that's where we're at right now. Looking at 3586. Is that 3585 or 35? I think that's 3586. Is rotating into view and looking healthy. 3583 is about to go into that zone where we've seen more activity from the solar flares. So, oh wait, I wanted to check proton flux before we headed out here. Yeah, we got okay. We're not in a solar radiation storm threshold yet, but I mean, right at 8 o'clock, we did get our 50 mega electron volt level protons just peaking past that 1 PFU, which is the threshold for 100. And then we already had elevated protons in the 10 mega electron volt level, and those are just kind of sustaining out. Remember, it was kind of dying out, and now we are still at elevated protons coming towards Earth. I don't really know where, well, I'm not certain where the view of the charged radiation belts around the Earth that Stefan Burns uses are from, but I would love to show them. I'll probably share a video from him in my community tab, just so that y'all can see what that's about, because these protons come in and they charge up the radiation belts around the Earth, and that discharges into the Earth depending on different angles and intensities of solar wind and the magnetic field. Let's go ahead and look at today's astrology so that we can see. I wonder if this happened right as Venus went into Aquarius. Wouldn't that be something? Technically have 5 planets in Aquarius right now: Venus, Pluto, Mars, Mercury, and the Sun. And then also within like 38 degrees of that, Saturn's right there in Pisces. Saturn being the traditional ruler of Aquarius, looking over at, what are y'all doing in my house? What are y'all doing in Aquarius right here? And we're getting a nice trine from the moon, a moon trine Mars right now. And the moon was more trine to Venus and Pluto earlier in the day when Venus ingressed into Aquarius. Also seeing a strong square here between Taurus Uranus and Aquarius Mercury. So let's watch out for that. But finally, we have a completely clear Capricorn, and we can focus on the future, the waves, the vibes, the resonance with each other. Now let's go back down to our terrestrial weather. I'm just going to go to Zoom Earth so that we can get a big overview, because I'm trying to record this a faster episode than usual. Also, I have a slow internet connection, obviously, so I don't know how that's going to work. Okay. Zoom out. We're still seeing those nice warm temperatures throughout much of the deep south, but that is going to go away as we're having some showers come in through here. The Daytona 500 is this weekend, and it's supposed to have rain all over the Daytona 500. So that sucks for them. Sucks for you race fans. Might get rained out down in Florida, but much of the United States is in those colder polar air masses right now. Let's actually look at live satellite. Let's see what this is looking like. See if it'll let me load this to see how we've got this fire hose of moisture marching along, and then this spin up of this is Winter Storm Miguel up according to the Weather Channel. Up in the Northeast, it's Winter Storm Miguel. And then down here, this is just our regular late winter, early spring rains that start washing into usually we start seeing this kind of weather in April, but I guess we're just cheating and doing it in February too. But there's not an absence of snow. There is from Colorado to Chicago, we're seeing some snow on like the top end. You know how the like cyclones look like a comma shape when they've got that T-bar at the top of the comma shape. This is what we're seeing up here. And this is more of the wrapping it in. So we get the pull down of cold air and the pull up of warm, moist air wrapping together, and that'll make a nice cyclone. And this is what we saw today throughout most of the Gulf Coast. Some showers throughout most of the Gulf Coast, and that snowstorm that was up in Seattle, Montana, and Nebraska, and the Dakotas yesterday, that is marching in through Chicago and into the Northeast now as Winter Storm Miguel. And we're expecting some rain showers to pass through Tennessee and into North Carolina throughout the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, I think. Okay, here's a finally loaded image of that full day of weather. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. This cold polar air mass meeting up with this tropical air moisture source, that's a great recipe for a nice classic snowstorm up here. So they're kind of getting a 1-2 punch with this low system, and then filing in behind here, we're going to have some continued snow in the Northeast. So a lot of movement as well. We also, I'm going to pause that and zoom out. We're still setting up for another good cyclone to come into the United States from the Pacific here. I mean, gorgeous, gorgeous rotation right here. Absolutely beautiful textbook imagery of what the shape of a wave is, what the shape of a cyclone is, and how those are the same thing. And speaking of which, let me go now to check both our volcanoes and earthquakes at the same time. Let me see if it'll let me look at the earthquakes on the volcano map. We've had a really slow internet connection day today. Not surprising with all the weird solar weather. I wonder if any radio towers are leaning heavily on other bandwidths and they're getting crunched down. No, you don't want to show quakes? Show all? Okay, no, it doesn't want to show any of the quakes. Let's look at latest quakes, see if that'll show. Only 2 above magnitude 5 in the past 24 hours, several between 4 and 5, and a lot more lower end quakes today. It looks like as we look through here, we're looking pretty decent from Mexico to Guatemala. And then all over the Mediterranean, we are seeing these magnitude 3.1, 3.3s echoing from up in Croatia, down into Greece, all the way down to off the coast of Turkey. Now, and then we've also got some threes in Romania and Turkey as well, on the Turkey-Iran border region. Then we've got these mid-range threes. Well, the border of southern Xinjiang, China, and Kyrgyzstan is still ripple aftershocking. But then we've also got one in Siberia, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, one on the Nepal-India border, several throughout here in Indonesia. One of these was warned by Dutch Sense, if y'all like his earthquake forecasting. We had one down here in, this is one of our fives down on Vanuatu Islands. A 4.5 in Tonga, and then continued unrest all around Japan. So really looking at a pretty below average number of quakes today, but we're not letting up on our areas that we've been watching. Like, for instance, Puerto Rico still rumbling really hard. Dominican Republic getting in on the action. The Leeward Islands and that everywhere around here getting a lot more action than usual. And of course, we've got some right off the northern coast of New Zealand. As far as volcanoes go, let's take a look at volcanoes today. Pretty similar names of the usual suspects. Let's see if they've got any great pictures updated today. This is a picture of Ebeko. That'll be a fun one to put a face to a name for. Sakurajima is still going off. So is Samiru and Dukono. Still having an eruption at Merapi, and unable to detect here. Okay, so we've still got the usual suspects in play. Nothing too majorly new here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Yeah, so that it maybe will calm down my internet connection. And I'm going to pull a tarot card to leave us with for the evening. Let's just see. Again, I always leave my decks with a little rock friend. I think it's nice to hold a calming rock sometimes. And if you want things to feel comfortable, maybe put a nice little rock next to it. So we had really, really awesome feedback from the universe last night through the cards. So I'm just wondering, what kind of energy is today's X-class flare bringing? What other energies from the cosmic sphere? What parts of the planets are we looking at? Let's go ahead and see what the cosmos has to say to us from beyond the realm of what we can measure with our satellites and the visible naked eye or the telescope eye. Really, what can we see beyond the light and sound and X-ray waves? What can we see coming our way? Okay. The King of Swords. Got the King of Swords upright. King of Swords being mastery and completion and finality of the air intellect realm. Not just intellect, but mind and things happening on such a small scale that they seem invisible, but they're real. They're just happening so much and so everywhere that we can't detect it. Really, the realm that I'm asking about, even beyond fire, is air. King of Swords. We're going to know what to say soon. I feel like this is also that Mercury in Aquarius squaring the moon in Gemini. Mercury in Aquarius square Uranus in Taurus. But Gemini is looking at that square, and Gemini is Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. And this goes along with Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra when it comes to suits and associations. What's really jumping out at me right now is this like HBIC energy of like staring directly into and through your soul. The King of Swords is not playing around here. The Knight of Swords is randomly charging in and just saying things, and the King of Swords kind of knows when to sit down and not say things. That's also the power of making it from the level of mastery of the king through the queen to the of the knight to the king. Is the knight you see in action all the time. The king, could be in action but isn't. And when action is here, we're talking about words. So thinking about when not to say words, silence speaks volumes sometimes. Also feels very Aquarius to have 5 planets in Aquarius right now, a moon in Gemini, and we pulled the King of Swords. I'm going to do some more meditation on the King of Swords because maybe I just am too much in my Knight of Swords energy to understand what the king has to bring us. I'll do more reflection on that and get back to you guys. All right. It's been a short one for me tonight, but that's because I got to go out there and, spread the vibes. Spread the vibes of the X-Class flare. Let people know that the sun is doing stuff. Thank you for watching another episode. I love you very much. If you haven't watched this on YouTube before, don't forget to hit like or comment or subscribe or hit the notification bell, anything, because I usually try to go live every night, but it's usually at a different time of day every day. Oh, I didn't even give us our planetary hours today. Let me see what we broadcast in today. We're on a Venus day, and I broadcast to you here in a Jupiter hour. We started the broadcast in a Saturn hour, and now we're in a Jupiter hour. So, Venus and Jupiter, let's go expand beautifully out there. All right. I love you guys. Have a great night. Bye.